Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Kegel Show. My name is Don H, and I'll be your host today. And I probably don't even need to do an introduction, but very fortunate to have Rhino Page with us today. Thank you so much for coming down, Rhino. Always great to see you.
Good to see you as well.
Congratulations, by the way. U.S. Open win. Outstanding. You know, Rhino is a family member to us of the Kegel family, and we'll get into some other things that you're also doing with us going down that road. But how was it? How was the Open? I mean, literally, it had to be unbelievable.
Oh, well, it was the Open. It was the hardest week we have.
Absolutely, grind
just
out.
a complete mental grind, and coming out on top at the end, especially with what Jacob Buttriff did that whole week. It seemed almost impossible, but finally got some of those TV woes out and felt really prepared and bowled two of the best games I've ever bowled. So it's pretty exciting.
This is a big. I mean, it's a big title regardless, but this also put you. I mean, you're getting closer to the double-digit deal here, the Holy 10. So this was your sixth win,
Yeah,
correct?
Sixth win, yeah. Wow. Sixth win, first major. So yeah, I try not to think too much about that Hall of Fame, but it is in the back of your
It's
mind,
right there.
and it's that drive, and especially getting 2 titles this year. You know, I was at 4 for a long time, or even 3. So now getting over the hump of halfway, it's more motivating. It makes me want to go practice and work harder.
I mean, you went out. You were on tour in 07. Took Rookie of the Year out there. If you had to kind of break it down, I mean, do you feel you're at? Are you at the same spot you were when you went on tour? Most people I talk to experience a big change once they go out there, whether it's in their physical game or something like that. I mean, do you think you are different now than you were in 07?
The only thing that is the same now that was in 07 is my confidence in my mental side.
Okay.
I came out just motivated, like this is my time. You got to get them now, otherwise you're going back to school and you might not make it back. So
Absolutely.
My back was against the wall. Now it's a different mentality, obviously, because I've been out here 10 years. I've learned the do's and the don'ts, and so I feel like a much smarter player now. Obviously, with my injury, I had to clean my game up quite a bit. I lost a little bit of power there, and made some fit changes this year to go to grips, using vacuum grips now because I need some help with my rev rate.
Fantastic.
And so it's just I'm a much different player, and I feel like if I were to say the biggest difference was my brains. I'm smarter now.
Absolutely.
I don't get as emotional. I know how to work my way through a tournament much better. My patience level is much higher, which is incredibly important, especially in some of these events that we bowl where it's a 5-game block or a 6-game block. It's really easy to feel like, oh, and then one bad game and you feel like it's over.
Correct.
Now I know it's not. Everybody's going to hit a bad pair from time to time.
It happens.
So it's those things that I feel like that have made me a much better player now than what I was.
Fantastic. Well, we get the benefit of seeing you here, obviously, multiple times of the year, and you do a lot for us and for bowling as a whole. And but what brings you down here this week specifically?
Well, number one, I needed to get some practice in. I've taken a couple weeks off since the World Series, obviously.
Fair.
116 games in 2 weeks of major competition. Boy, not only are you physically tired, but you're more mentally just exhausted. So wanted to get back on the train of bowling a little bit and start preparing for next year. But also, we're doing an event tonight at Cypress Lanes for Specto. So I get to show off and do a demonstration. So I'm trying to get some practice in right now so I don't look like...
So you can tune up when you get down there. Right. And that kind of leads me to the next topic. I mean, what's great is, we've always felt like you've been a family member here. I mean, you have bowled nationals, with people that bowl here that, and some of them aren't that good. So you took the hit, instead of piling up with JJ and a couple other people. But, now you're in a different capacity with us too. I mean, you're actually going out and using your skill set and your knowledge as a world-renowned player and trying to help people get involved in Specto a little bit, So what are your thoughts, I guess, on that system? Do you see benefits? Do you?
It's awesome. The data that it gives you and how accurate that it is. I always tell people, the lane conditions that we bowl on, like in a normal house shot, for example, they make you feel like you're a really good bowler, but the reality is you're not necessarily making the same shot over and over.
You got area.
Right, you've got area. And so with Specto, it really holds you accountable. And you really start to see the data. I was just doing one of the drills of hitting breakpoint 5. I didn't realize how hard it was for me to hit break point. I'm like, can we put the torch on? I don't know if I'm getting older and I can't see that far.
Exactly.
But it's a great tool to help you with whatever you want to do with your game. And, the second point that I was going to make with it is, I tell people all the time, it's cool if you're a one-trick pony, but you're not going to win very often, and you're going to miss a lot of checks.
That's brilliant.
Right?
That's a brilliant comment.
And so one of the cool things about Specto is how they have those different drills to challenge yourself, whether it's second arrow drill, fourth arrow drill, breakpoint drill. All these different things, are so helpful for your versatility, but it also makes it fun.
Sure.
And even though it's practice, sometimes you're like, dang it, it's like a competition that you're having with yourself.
Absolutely.
Because you want to make those as nice as possible. So it's a great motivation tool as well. So I'm just thrilled with Specto.
You don't want to see my lines on Specto. They're all over the grid.
Rough.
That was a different life back in the day. All right, what do you think, staying on that topic, is there a specific level of bowler, or do you think this would be beneficial for really anybody?
I think it's beneficial for everybody, because a lot of people don't even know what their ball speed is. So
Good point.
just being able to see what their ball speed is, that their ball actually loses speed going down the lane, what it actually looks like shape-wise, and then being able to relate the proper ball motion that we're looking for to that picture, then it really starts to paint the full picture for them.
And if we got anybody watching this show locally, obviously within driving distance, you're going to be out at Mike Ducat's Cypress at what time tonight?
5:30, I believe.
If you even have an opportunity, just come down and see Rhino. Great guy to talk with, and probably can help you out a lot, with questions you've got concerning the game. You've always showed a strong support for coaching, okay, obviously. Was there anybody specific helped you get where you were at from that perspective?
Many, actually.
Okay.
The couple I'll point out is when I was 16, 17 years old, our local tournament club had a spokesperson, Kelly Kaufman. And anybody that remembers Kelly Kaufman, he had one of the most powerful balls you'd ever seen on tour. And Kelly took a liking to me right away, and it was because he saw that mentally I was in all of the other kids' heads right when I walked in the door.
Nice.
I didn't even have to throw a ball. And so he's like, I got to talk to this kid. And we developed a friendship right away. And there was many things that I didn't know about bowling. I didn't know what axis rotation was. I didn't know what tilt was. I didn't know what any of these things were. I just bowled.
Yeah.
You
were good at it. You were natural, and you got results.
And I'm left-handed. Hey, let's face it. I'll throw it in.
For somebody to pull that out there.
I'll throw it in there.
We got a lamesman and a left-handed professional bowler. Perfect.
But, Kelly taught me all those things, and he taught me versatility. Yeah. And he was also involved with AZO at the time, where he was developing a couple bowling balls. The little man, is that right? The little boy, the fat man, and the Armageddon. Anyway.
Right.
But he helped me out with some equipment as well, because my family wasn't well off to where they could just buy me equipment all the time. I was lucky to get one ball a year.
Yep.
And they were very old school in that sense too, because my parents bowled league.
They should last forever.
You just need one ball. What do you need 3 balls for?
And the era they grew up in. Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And so he helped me with that stuff, and it was 6 months later that I made Junior Team USA for my first time. And so I'm very thankful for Kelly. And then I met Ron Hatfield, my current coach.
Okay.
He was my junior team coach, and we've been together now 17 years, I believe.
That's awesome.
And we've been through some ups and some downs, but he's never, ever given up on me, and he's always worked very hard with me on my mental game, because I was a hothead from the very beginning. Nobody likes to lose, but for me, I got a little Italian blood in me too, so it boils a little bit sometimes.
Yeah, got you.
And Ron has been my right-hand man ever since, whether it's my physical game, whether it's mental, whether it's just as a friend. He's just my main man, and he's taught me so much about the coaching side as well. And so why I bring up Kelly Kaufman is, I always remember Kelly, and my feeling is I need to pay it forward.
Good for you.
And I can't pay it forward if I don't know how to coach.
Good for you.
And so I've leaned on Ron a lot, and Ron being a gold level coach, he's taught me so much. And I still lean on him sometimes, like, hey, where do I go on this?
Well, when he's known you long enough, he can dial in quick, I'd imagine.
Yeah, absolutely. And so being able to coach and get back to our sport and do it at a high level is something that I really enjoy, because there's nothing better than helping someone and seeing that light bulb go off and that smile on their face, and you go, all right.
Absolutely.
They're hooked.
What a great feeling.
So,
all right, this may be a tough one for you, because you know, the answer could be with people that you are currently and have competed against. But when you were younger, man, who was your favorites to watch? Honestly, I mean, the Kaufmans. I mean, who else was out there?
Right. Parker Bone for sure. Just is beautiful of a game, and especially being a lefty. Mike Albee was actually, I like Albee more than both, or all of them really,
Stellar
because
human
he was a
being, by the way.
bulldog. You know, and there's nobody that I would ever want in the 10th frame more than Mike Albee.
Nicest guy in the world, but when it came down to it, he had the killer
yeah.
instinct,
Absolutely.
without a doubt, man.
And you know, of course, and I'm going to go to right-handers here. You know, Norm Duke, loved watching Norm.
Very versatile, multiple hand positions. You know, could do a
Absolutely.
lot of different things.
David Ozio,
Yeah.
beautiful game. And then even on the power side, I love Steve Hoskins
Oh, yeah,
because I loved his fire. And there's just something about watching Steve that made me want to just go bowl.
I wanted to say, Steve, wasn't Steve a Turpin boy? Wasn't he out of Turpin
Yeah,
Springs? I thought, yeah, because back in the late 80s, I was taking care of Bowling Center up in Newport Richie, and I was pretty sure, before I came to work for Kegel, he was out in that area. Those are all fantastic picks, man,
Yeah.
without a doubt. Next championship in your sights, you're just coming off the Open, so this is kind of a, you know, I mean, you mentioned me in the parking lot, wow, you're just kind of still letting it, you know, settle with you that you've pulled this off.
Right.
What's another big one in your sights, you think?
Well, I would have said the World Championships 2 weeks ago because winning the U.S. Open had given me an outside shot at Player of the Year, but I had to have a huge World Series. And, you know, unfortunately, we only had a couple days off, and after you win your first major, let alone the U.S. Open, only having a couple days to really collect your thoughts and prepare for the 12 days in Reno. Well, about halfway through those 12 days, I just felt it.
Oh, I bet.
It was very hard to function. My shot making kind of was in and out, and you know, so obviously the World Championships one I really want. I've made the show on that particular tournament 3 times and fallen short. That would be really sweet. Tournament of Champions, been really close to that one. Of course, I'm talking majors here,
Absolutely.
but I'll take any of them right now. I just want to keep going towards that 10, and I want to keep the ball rolling.
I'm going to throw an extra question in because you have actually, I mean, you've competed internationally, you've went and coached, you've done clinics. I mean, a lot of times I think, you know, people don't understand how many great bowlers there are internationally. You've been able to obviously compete with some. Do you think there's a pretty solid core over there? I mean, you know, sometimes people come to me and they say, oh, the best bowlers in the United States. Some of the best are, I agree. But we've had a bunch of international people coming on the circuit the last couple of years. Who would be one of your toughest opponents, you think, on the international circuit?
Well, Belmo for sure. I think he's everybody's toughest.
Listen, man.
I mean,
yeah,
I've never
he's
seen.
phenomenal.
I've gotten to watch Belmo since we were about 17 years old in the Youth World Championships.
Yeah, I got to do lanes for him when he was a teenager, actually bowling for Australia.
Yeah, and watching him and Osku, I'll never forget. We thought it was a joke. We were laughing. We're like, what are they doing? Because we had never seen anybody throw the
Nothing
ball
like
that way. And watching him develop his game to what it is now, that guy is so for real. It's incredible.
That's what I tell people, man.
I hear people all the time saying, "Oh, well, it's because he's two-handed. It's because of the." Don't make excuses, folks. This guy is that good.
He is that good.
And because he can create the power that he does, which, by the way, there's other two-handers,
Oh, 100%.
but they're not on that level, right?
100%.
Because he can do what he does, he actually makes the pocket a little bigger, and that makes it even tougher to beat him. You know, he'll get those couple hits, but you know what? He's allowed to. And you know what? There's not one of us out there that hasn't tripped a 4-pin, or for me a 6-pin,
Absolutely.
or gotten some breaks, right?
Or for me, a 2-pin.
And it's funny how quick we forget that.
No doubt.
Right? We just want to look at the guy, oh, I can't believe he carried that. But Belmo is devastating.
He's
And there's not a
unbelievable.
part of the lane he can't play. There's not a ball speed, not an angle. I've seen him do some sick stuff. He's by far the guy you look at internationally.
When I was younger, what was wild is, you know, in the beginning when he was coming out, and you had Brandon Kolachevsky and Jared Lean and the guys that were representing back in that day, Team Australia, but, you know, we hadn't gone to the dual patterns yet, okay? So it literally, if you had anything over 37 feet and he showed up, I mean, you might as well just go home, you're dead. When we put out short long, I remember the first term, he shot like 300 over on long and maybe 300 under on short. And if I exaggerate, I apologize to you, Jason, but it was amazing. I remember him coming up to me in that tournament going, I'll learn how to play this. I'll learn how to play short. And then he actually became more dominating on short. You know, and so I got to agree that kid is that good, man. Just a very, very nice young man as well. Speaking about the youth, you've taken quite a journey, obviously, and you interact with a lot of them. Any tips, man, that if you had one off the top of your head pop out, it's going to benefit, the younger generation bowling? What would you say?
I got to go back to what my father taught me at a very young age, and that is make spares, make cut. Miss spares, miss cut. MSMC. And he pounded in my brain over and over and over until I finally understood. And I've worked incredibly hard on my spare game for a very long time. I continue to work on it. It's the reason that I even made the show at the U.S. Open. It wasn't that I was striking as much as the other guys. That wasn't really the case. You don't strike a lot in the U.S. Open, unless you're Jacob Buttriff this year.
What he pulled off an unbelievable deal.
But you will always leave spares, right? And something as simple as a 10-pin for a right-hander, a 7-pin for a left-hander. You're going to leave it the rest of your life. No matter how high of level you get at, you got to know it's an automatic 9 spare and go to the next shot. So especially for the youth that are going to bowl junior gold, we watch that tournament every year. If you average 205, you're in the top 10, top 20.
That's not a bunch of 6-baggers.
That's not a bunch
That's
of
a lot of spares.
Unless you miss every spare.
Yeah. Right, exactly.
But you don't want to do that. You don't want to have to rely on that 6-bagger. And so spares, make some time. Every single practice session you have, put a little time in. And personally, you should know anyways, what you struggle with, right?
Good point.
And if you don't, get an app, get Pen Pal. I use iBowl Stats. Get something, because you have to hold yourself accountable. Nobody else is going to do that.
Outstanding advice, my brother. Dude, it was an absolute pleasure to see you.
My pleasure.
Good luck tonight, man. I wish I could get down there, but I'm about 45 miles south, so I'm going to ditch out on that one. But congratulations again on your win, and we'll look for some future titles coming around the bend and hopefully a future Hall of Fame.
Hopefully so.
Take care, my friend. Have a good one. Ladies and gentlemen, that's a wrap for the show. Keep those wrenches turning and have a wonderful day.